Hey, I'm Sion, an American living in Kazakhstan, and this is These Are My People. Each episode, I sit down with one friend to talk about where they want to be 10 years from now, what drives them, and the plans they're making to get there. We'll also dive into one interesting topic. These are ordinary people with ordinary dreams. Hi guys, welcome to These Are My People. This week I'm in Ukraine. I'm still with my mom and dad this week, and we've come to visit some of my mom's friends who are living in Ukraine on the border of Moldova and Ukraine. And this is Steve. Welcome, Steve. Thank you.
Hello.
So can you tell us, before we get started on our topic, can you tell us a little bit about you?
About me, I worked until early retirement, retired, and came to Ukraine with my wife.
Okay.
Not for any particular reason other than she had been coming here since 2014. This was a big deal for me in the sense that I'm not like a world traveler.
Yeah, okay.
The
first place to come being Ukraine is, especially during these times.
Yeah, everybody was, I was like, I prayed about this for well over a year, and some kind of astonishing things happened that made it very obvious that I should come here. So I retired early, and we left within months of retirement and came here.
Okay, yeah. So we'll get a little bit more into the process of coming over to Ukraine. How would you describe yourself as a person? Maybe your personality or...
A control freak.
Control freak? I haven't noticed that at
all. I know. Nobody ever notices that. No, I was in middle to upper management in the flooring business, and worked for one of the largest companies in the United States for a period of time. Was a sales manager for them. I had my own business. And then for the last 20 years, I worked for a family-owned company that was doing hardwood flooring. And I don't know what my official title would have been, operations manager, but I did a little bit of a lot of things.
Okay.
And from purchasing to sales and everything in between. So I'm kind of detail-oriented.
Yeah,
I just get in and get it done. That was just the way I was raised.
So you were raised that way, or have you been like that since you were really little?
I think as long as I can remember, I've been that way. Kind of anal. I'm a neat freak. I'm the one that vacuums at the house and does the dishes and stuff like that.
That's interesting you coming to Ukraine, because for me, I am also a bit of a control freak. And coming from, I think it would be anywhere you move in the world, but one of the hardest things is, in the States or your home country, you know how to do everything, the processes. It's easier to control what you know.
True.
But then you come somewhere where everything is different, the processes are different, the language is different, and it's so much harder to control.
Yep.
And for me, initially I felt a lot of anxiety and stress, because you think, I'm so used to being able to do everything and organize it, and now I don't even know how to organize it. Did you face a little bit of that?
I thought it would be that way, but I've never had a problem communicating with people. Okay, maybe that's probably obvious too. Even though I don't know the language, I know a few words, but not much. If we can't find something, my wife goes and hides, and I'm the crazy American there with hand gestures. And it's like, but it works. And the best part of the whole thing is it brings smiles to their face. Because they think, look at that crazy guy doing that. But we got the point across, They take me and we find whatever. I remember one time we were talking about peanut butter. In a store. Where is it? Big store. And the lady was not getting it at all. And then so we started talking, and I made some gestures and everything, and she, and then we walked halfway across the thing, and she found it and everything.
Wow.
And I'm like, oh, that's great.
I'm curious what kind of gestures you used to indicate.
No, you don't care. We don't want to do that.
A little bit of monkey.
Yeah, kind of.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But no, I mean, for me, it's been doing different things to be able to communicate.
Okay.
For my whole life, I was able to, verbally to
Right.
do it. And I think that there's some things just there are no borders for. That when you realize that we're all the same in so many ways, even though the world tells us we're all different, when you break it down to common denominators,
Oh, yeah.
then the communication is pure.
Yeah.
And it's just simple and it's fun.
Yep.
And you can laugh. I don't care. You can laugh at me because I make silly things happen, What can you say?
Yeah.
But, to me, that's great because a lot of pressure for a lot of people in Ukraine. And just to see a simple smile. And you've seen that because we've been walking down the street and we've done a lot of things. A lot of the younger people know who we are because there's not that many Americans in this
Sure.
town. And you've seen the way their face lights up.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's cool. That's good stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So.
I know for me, especially in the early stages of living in a different culture, you have a lot of funny moments like that, right? Where you're trying to communicate something or you do something that might be very strange to someone, and for you it's normal.
Right.
Do you have a story of doing something that was maybe awkward or it just ended up really funny because of cultural differences?
Well, I use a lot of idioms because when I was in sales for many, many, many years, and really sales is the only thing that I would say to describe it is just painting a word picture.
Okay.
So that somebody can understand.
Okay.
I was in the flooring business, and from a technical aspect, if you came in to buy a hardwood floor, if I started telling you about the nuts and bolts of the hardwood floor, but if I can paint a word picture for you and say, if you come in with rocks in your shoes or mud in your shoes, it's not going to do any damage to this, and paint pictures for you, and then all of a sudden you get the technical side of things, and it's just easier to communicate. So this culture, idioms don't really work. They don't understand them.
Yeah. Well, they've got their own different idioms, right? Our idioms might.
Yeah, I don't know. It's probably a little drier sense of humor.
Okay.
Their sense of humor is great. Super dry, but super funny.
Okay. So can you think of an idiom that hasn't translated well off the top of your head?
I said hotter than sin.
Hotter than sin? Okay.
And they looked at me like I was crazy. What do you mean? And I said, well, if you're in hell, it's because you sinned.
And so,
okay. I get it.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. I know my dad tells a story about being in Africa, and he was preaching, someone was translating for him, and he said, then I picked up my feet and ran. And I don't know if you've heard this idiom, to mean to run really fast or to really get out of there. And the translator looked at him like,
like he's got to pick his feet up.
You picked up your feet? How did you pick up your feet and run? Yeah, so those don't always translate well. So you mentioned already that you moved after retirement to Ukraine. Let's go back 20 years ago when you were still working, you still had a long time to retirement. What did you picture or how did you envision your retirement 20 years ago?
Not this.
Not this, definitely not this.
It would not even have been a thought in my mind, honestly. 20 years ago, so I got to think back. That's probably, my kids, I have twin boys that are 27, so 20 years ago they would have been
about
young.
7 then, yeah.
Different priorities, really concentrating on work and being able to provide for a family.
Yeah.
Looking to the future in the sense of putting them through school, in the sense of college, helping them with the college stuff. I think at that time we were probably pretty involved with Little League, and I was able to do some coaching with them and stuff. But I think my focus then, I don't think I looked past that time. I don't think I had any grandiose plans for retirement.
Okay.
I know I have a 50-year high school reunion this year. Now I won't be able to attend because I'm going to be here. But I sent a note back, and they were like, "Ukraine, Ukraine." because I think the last thing that was written in my high school yearbook is that I probably would not be alive for 20 years after we graduated.
Okay.
But that was a different time, and that's a whole different story. So we'll go from there.
Yeah, I live in Kazakhstan,
Right.
and even a year before I moved there, I wouldn't have even imagined Kazakhstan. And we can plan, because I'm someone who likes to control my life as much as I can, I had always planned what I would be doing, the steps I would take, where I would be. And only after I moved to Kazakhstan, I realized, we can plan as much as we want, but our dreams change, situations change, economy changes, and God can always put something in your heart to do something different. And so planning doesn't always go well.
And then, in some way, I never thought I would say this, it's kind of freeing. Because I've been so nuts and bolts, I got this list of things I'm going to get done today. I'm going to do this, and all this kind of stuff. And then when you just kind of let go, some really good stuff happens.
Yeah.
It just makes me wonder how much I got in the way of all the things from before.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. Actually, the other day I was thinking about something. And in Christianity, we talk about the prompting of the Holy Spirit, right? But I was thinking, do it, not do it, do it, not do it. But then there's so many situations like that in our life where we miss out on so much, not only, blessing other people, helping other people, but even in general life about we're too scared to do something, we don't do it, and how much adventure of life do we miss out on because we want to control it a little too much.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes that the promptings we get are more what we want to do than what is a true prompting. Because I was having this discussion with my wife the other day. How do you know? Sometimes okay, when you get hit hard enough over the head. But then there's other times, is it just me wanting to do my thing?
Oh, yeah.
And it's like,
I guess for me, it's when I don't want to do something, but I feel like I need to do it, that's when I know it's a prompting I need to follow.
Funny you mentioned that, because part of the story of me coming here is we talked and I decided, look, I'm done. I want to get out of here. We're going to retire early. So moved money from the 401k at the company that I work with, took it to an investment guy, gave him a date that we were going to retire, and told him what we'd like to have money for a monthly or whatever. And he said, okay, all right, we can work this out. And the company I worked for at the time was a family company, had been around for 75 years.
Oh, okay.
The daughter, who'd never worked ever in her life, decided that she wanted to sell the company.
Oh, okay.
So this is like a quick turnaround type thing. Well, the day the company sold was the day I had written down over a year ago at the investment guy. Because I went in after a guy called him and told him about it. And he goes, oh, no problem. We got you covered and everything. You're good.
Wow.
So when I went in, he goes, you do know what the date is? And I said, yeah, I do. I wrote it down.
Yeah.
So I kind of took that. God knew that I was pretty stubborn.
Yeah.
And, I got hit pretty hard on that one. It's sort of like, okay, I'm going.
Leaving. Okay,
I felt really guilty for all those people that lost their jobs.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's a great example. So I think for most people, your wife, Jennifer, has been coming to Ukraine for a while now.
2014.
Okay, so 11 years then.
Yeah.
But most people, they have heard, of course, about Ukraine, don't know much about Ukraine. And so I think most people started hearing more and more about Ukraine when the war started, right? And their association with Ukraine would be a scary place right now because of what's going on in the world, in this country. So they would imagine it as the last place for retirement. Yeah. So for you, did you feel like it was more of a risk or more of an adventure? You said it was your first place abroad that you came.
No risk. The first question I got asked when we first moved here was, aren't you afraid? And I'm like, well, for one thing, I'm from California, so no, I'm not really afraid. You've lived there, so you know what I'm talking about. But on the flip side of that, if God wants to take you home, it really doesn't matter. And it doesn't mean that you can stand in the middle of the street and let you know what I mean? And the cars are going to part their way around.
You're not going to be stupid.
You have to be smart. However, in the big scheme of life, you know, you got to trust, you got to have faith. And, you know, like I say, when the company closed, that just absolutely cemented the deal for me. So it's like, okay, I don't think that the company would close and I would come to Ukraine and a shell would land on my head. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I took it as a sign that there's something for me to do here.
Sure. So it was definitely a step of obedience for you.
True.
Was there any sense of adventure in it for you, or was it purely just that step of obedience?
You know, it's really weird. I had no predetermined ideas. I had no expectations. I didn't set the bar up at all. I really didn't know what I was getting into. And again, that's kind of odd for me because wanting to be able to control, you want to know what you're getting into. I had none of that. And it was not scary in any way. And I'm happy that it was that way because honestly, I don't want this to live up to my expectations. I want it to be organic. I want to be pure. I want to see emotion from them that's not fake. I want it to be honest. You know. So, but no, some of those kind of things kind of boggle my mind because 5 years ago, 10 years ago, it would have blown my mind.
Sure.
I don't know.
Okay. So living in Kazakhstan, people back in the States always ask me, like, what is your life like? And I think, you know, my life is pretty normal. You know, I have my friends, I have my cat, and I go to work, I hang out with friends, I walk in the park. I do usual things I would do back in the States, a bit freer. I don't have the crazy schedule as I would working in the States. Can you give us a little insight into what your life looks like? You are retired, but here you guys have stuff you do. You also have relaxing time. What does your life look like?
You know, we have a car here. We're fortunate to have a little car here. We don't use it a lot. We walk a lot. And really the culture here is much more, well, the transportation with the buses and things like that, I think is superior to what we have, at least in our area in California. So we walk as much as we can. And I think that for me and for my wife also, that's been kind of part of our, if you want to call it ministry, because, you know, the newspaper guy that I see every day of the world down there, we have kind of a little ongoing game. I'll say Dobry Ranek, which is good morning in Ukrainian. And sometimes he'll say hello in English. So it's sort of a play. I don't know his name. He doesn't know me. He knows we're American. I know he's Ukrainian and he's trying to sell magazines. But I mean, every day we walk by there, he waves. So, you know, those kind of things are pure. You know, and spontaneous. I like those kind of things, so it's kind of funny.
I want to get a little bit into more about how you live your life here in just a second, but I remember when I was in my teens, I used to think, oh, 40 is so old. I want to die by the time I'm 40. I just can't imagine living past 40. And of course, the older you get, the more you realize 40 is young. And I look at my parents, they're about the same age as you guys, about 60. And I think, that's young. There's still so much life that you can live, especially if you keep healthy. And my parents used to tell me, you know, your life starts in your 40s. And I think even now they would say, your life starts in your 60s.
I agree.
You agree
My
with
perspective of age has changed, obviously. I appreciate you saying 60. I'm going to be 68 in September.
No, you're still 60.
In the 60s. Yeah, we're close. I've been blessed with good health. And I know there's, you know, I have a lot of friends, both here and at home, that are younger than I am and just don't have the health that I have. And that's truly a blessing. And something that I completely took for granted younger. I mean, you just think it happens. You don't have to work at it. It just happens. And no, you have to work at it. So, yeah, that's kind of interesting though. I mean, it's weird because I don't feel that old. My mind keeps telling me that I can do this. Then my body gives me a little wake-up call, and it's like, do you remember how old you are? You can't do that anymore. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. So I've been telling my friends back in Kazakhstan a little bit about my time here, what I see here. And as I said, a lot of people, even in Kazakhstan, I would say, associate Ukraine with a bit scary right now. And I was thinking about the people who have died on, in all wars. It's sad. Mom and I today were in a cemetery. My mom likes to walk around cemeteries. Little weird, I know, but we do it. And we were looking at a lot of the people who died during the Second World War. And you just think, to be in a place where there's death all around the world, but especially something like this, it's sad. It can feel maybe hopeless at times. You think, how can you continue on living when there's so much sadness around you? And even walking around, there were people there who were visiting graves of people who have recently died. And I thought, usually when we visit a cemetery, it is interesting for us, and I think, oh, it's just for interest. But today I felt, man, is it right to be here to see graves out of interest when so many people are here in sadness, in loss? And people are asking me, don't you feel depression? Don't you feel hopeless and sad? How are your parents when you're around this all the time? And I think, of course it's sad. Of course, everyday life can be sad too. You can see people who are in need, people who have lost their loved ones. But when I'm here and I see people like you and Jennifer, I see a lot of hope. You've talked about one guy that you meet that I'm sure would not get a lot of maybe socialization or love from other people, but knowing that he has you in his life who are going to meet with him and talk with him, I'm sure he has that spark of hope, like, oh, at least something I can look forward to, that meeting with Jennifer and Steve this week. And I think that there's a lot of that going on, especially from you and Jennifer. And I wanted to ask if you could share a story of hope and how you see hope here in Ukraine, despite the times of the country.
I think a lot of it is just sitting down and letting them talk to us, because they have a kind of a preconceived idea of what Americans are. Not always right, but they have an idea of it. And I think for an American, quote unquote, to sit down and just listen to them and not try to tell them what to do gives them hope. Because we do a lot of work with foster kids who may not know their parents, or brothers and sisters have different dads and things like that. And when I explain to them that my dad was not a part of my life, and they look at me like, well, but you're American, they have the perfect life, everything's good. And it's really not. So when all of a sudden, when you get that common ground again, all the barriers go away. And it's interesting, because I wondered my whole life why a lot of things that I had happened to me, why? As I got older, I now understand, and I can relate to those people in the same, and not just, everybody would be concerned or be empathetic, but I can talk about my feelings, and it's the same feelings that they have. It's not it's not that I read it in a book or anything. I've lived it just like they're living it. And I think that is so freeing for not only me, but also for them, just to realize that they're not different, because society has told them, they're orphans, they're this, they're that. And, really doesn't matter where you're from. We happen to be in Ukraine, but there's the same thing going on in any country. And I think that brings a lot of comfort, and I think it brings a lot of hope, just to know that, And I have always been kind of the glass half full guy instead of half empty.
Okay.
I've been accused of, I will make fun of myself if I can make you smile. That's kind of been my MO, even when I was selling and things like that. Because again, I think that just helps people to relax. Another thing that we like to do is we like to go and buy somebody a coffee, sit at a coffee shop, or maybe lunch or whatever. I think that all of us, when we sit down and break bread, quote unquote, I think you relax.
Yeah.
Because again, we both got to chew the food. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's so much common there. We don't have to eat the same things, but I think those kind of things break barriers down and just cause people to relax.
Yeah.
And, you know, we can tell them stories about our kids in the United States and some of the things that they're going through. And they're like, wow, you know, that happens. Yeah, it happens there just like it does here. So, I mean, I think the more you stress the common things, the better it is for them and for us. And I think then that helps them to look at things and go, wow, it's not just us. It's not just here. You know, we're all fighting the same battles.
Yeah, around the world. Yeah, that's true.
You know, and I mean, we've talked to a lot of people just about how it would be very difficult for us to live in the world if we didn't have faith. And I have family members, I have a stepbrother who is zero faith. And I see how he struggles, and I see the anger and just the angst that he has. And, you know, so when you talk to people here, they get it. Because, I mean, you got to cling to something, and the world doesn't give you anything to cling to that's going to stay solid, if you will.
So, we can't find that hope, the constant hope, eternal hope from something that's here around us.
You know, and it's just little rays of sunshine. You know what I mean? When little things happen that are really cool, that somebody says, wow, that was really nice. You know, we really, I mean, you went with us, we went out into the boonies. It was raining and the people were just good people.
Good people, kind people, yeah.
I mean,
relational.
Yeah, it was just, it wasn't fake. There was nothing fake from either side of the table.
Absolutely, yeah.
And you know, those moments are great because, I mean, how much stress does that get away from them and us? Yeah, I like those things.
Yeah, you know, there's definitely a time where we need to help people by doing something, helping them fix. But a lot of times it's, I think, as you're pointing towards, we just need to show someone that we're next to them, you know? To know that you have someone next to you can help you, can give you the confidence to do what you need to do, to not feel so down in the dumps about something. So a lot of times, all we need to do is to show someone, I'm next to you, I'm with you.
Just to listen.
Yeah.
And let them pour it out.
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing. You don't have to say anything, and all of a sudden it's just like gushing out. And I mean, I know it works for me, and most people are the same way. If you get it out of you, then it doesn't fester inside of you.
Yeah, that's a good point. So you mentioned about going out in the boonies. We went out last, Tuesday, to an apple farm.
Correct.
A few hours away from here. And there it's not necessarily your guys' work, you guys help out with it, but it's work that you guys do with people who have gotten out of prison.
Right.
Can you say, I think that'd be interesting, can you say a little bit more about that program?
Well, somebody coming out of prison, you know, they've been told what to do at what time. Everything is very structured. Controlled. Controlled.
For them.
For them, yes. They have no control.
Yeah.
They're under control.
Yeah.
So it can be really intimidating and scary. And if you don't have experience in that, when you are let free, you're kind of like a deer in the headlights because you don't really know what to do. So this is sort of a transition area because, and I think it's really difficult for us to understand, having not been in prison. I've dealt with this in the United States as well. And when you get out and if you've never experienced freedom, what do you do?
Yeah.
Most of the time, you do not the right thing. You're doing the worldly things. So it's not a fault. If you don't know, nobody told you the stove's hot. You can't touch it. You say, oh, those kind of things. So it's kind of almost have to relearn your whole life. And given responsibilities, they had responsibilities in prison, but when you have free agency, and you got to go out and feed the chickens or whatever it is, then you start to earn respect from your peers because they can depend on you. So it's little steps that all of a sudden start the formulation of the idea of freedom.
Yeah.
Because how do you describe freedom if you've never had it?
Yeah, that's true.
What could you possibly say? I don't think there's a verbal way that you could explain it.
Well, so I was just thinking about freedom. A lot of these guys, of course, they had a time before prison, but they found, from the stories of the guys that I've heard, they found themselves in a situation where they were trying to survive, and the only way that they could find out, or the only way they knew how to survive, was crime, right? And so for them, freedom is maybe not necessarily the greatest thing ever, because freedom for them is trying to survive and struggling. Yeah,
it's interesting, but it's really nice to watch. I don't know about you, but I don't ever feel threatened with those guys.
No,
I never felt
so nice.
I never felt fearful or and I've been around people that haven't been to prison where I've kind of I'm watching where my phone is or whatever. But I think that they're discovering things about themselves. And they're looking at us, and then when we tell them stories, and they think, oh, wow, that's cool. That I thought that would never happen to them. So those are things that are positive.
Yeah. So just to clarify about this, there's two guys that go. I'm not sure if there's more of them. Sergei and Anatolia. They go into the prisons when people are still in prison. They meet with them. Sometimes bring them lunch, and they say, don't go back to the life you were in before. When you got out of prison, we've got this place you can come to. It's an apple farm. You can live and work there, I guess is how it works. And so that's where we went last Tuesday, just to go have dinner or lunch. And it was, as you said, I told my husband I was going there, and he was a little bit worried. What are you going to do hanging out with ex-cons?
Out in the middle of nowhere.
Is it safe? But they were so nice, showing us around, showing us the puppies, and it's another story, I think, of hope that you see. What hope do you have when you're going to be released from prison, and you have nothing to go to, and you think, I'm just going to go back the same cycle? The guys who were there, one had been to prison 10 times, one had been to prison 7 times, but now they're out of that cycle, and they see, okay, I can work. The guy who I mentioned goes into the prisons, who kind of is over this ministry. He was saying on Sunday about how after he had been in prison, he tried to work, and he decided, I'm going to work, I'm going to get married, I'm going to live a normal life, because that's what people do. But when he started working, he didn't know how to work. He didn't know how to have conversation with not people who were in prison, with other criminals, other people who were in the same kind of lifestyle as him. So to be in this program to show people how to work normally, and we're hanging out with them, we're showing, hey, we don't think of you as lowly. We think you're our brother, our sister. We're ready to communicate with you, to love on you. I think it gives them hope, like, okay, I don't have to live the life that I used to live.
Well, I think it gives them hope, but it also gives them confidence to be able to go out into the world and not, have the red letter. You know what I mean? Just to blend into the crowd and not have everybody pointing at them and go, oh, he was in prison or whatever. So, it's a great program, and it's a necessary program. just as a first step. And then they can move to the next step and get an apartment. And we have a friend that up here who didn't come out of the prison system, came out of the alcohol rehab center. And he's in an apartment now and everything. And we check up on him, try to hold him accountable, let him know we got eyes on him. You know, he's not out there on his own. And just to see the change in him, you know, that's kind of why we're here. You get a warm feeling in your heart because you know what you're doing is right.
Yeah.
So it's interesting, but he's in the same position. I mean, what do you do? Yeah. You got to learn everything to do. You know, simple things like being able to communicate if you go to ask for a job. I mean, what do you do? I came to work. Well, what can you do? You know, I mean,
Still.
Right. I mean, you've got to have presentation, I guess. And, you know, it's just, you could take this program and go to any place in the world. And there's a need for it. So this isn't a Ukrainian problem. This is just life.
True. So how do you, Steve, as living here, being surrounded by, you said you've been to multiple funerals here in this, and it's a small town. Village? Would you say it's a village?
This would be a town.
Okay, it's a small town. You've been to multiple funerals here. You've seen a lot of people in difficult situations. How do you hold on to hope? And how do you not just live in this depression from seeing this?
Faith, for one thing. I saw a great meme the other day. And I'll verbally try to paint you a picture of it. So the top half was a faucet with a drip of water. And it says the world. Your life. The bottom half of the picture was a picture of the ocean. Eternity. And that kind of put everything into context for me, because no matter how old I end up, you know, whatever my time is on earth is still going to be that drip in comparison to eternity. And, you know, I want to use my drip, if you want to call it that, to the best of my ability to reflect my Creator. So that's what gives me hope. I mean, it's not where you start, it's where you end. And I've lived that life. That is my life right there.
I only met Steve last week, friends of my mom, but from what I've heard, you've got a lot of stories you could tell. A lot of stories you could tell. So what's the best part of your life here, Steve?
Best part of my life? You know, I like the simplicity and the quiet here. I was thinking about this today. I love the fact that very little goes to waste here. Okay? And I mean, very little of anything goes to waste. If something breaks, they fix it with whatever they have. And, you know, coming from America, if something breaks, I'm going to Home Depot or Lowe's or whatever, and I'm going to try to find the part and piece I need. Well, they don't have that luxury. So if something breaks, they MacGyver it. Okay? And I love the fact of that. And I like that, to me, that's kind of common sense, but it's critical thinking. I think that's a skill, a life skill that in many places in America has been lost because we want easy. You know, we want to just go to Home Depot and say the knob broke. Oh, aisle 4, you know. Here they got to think. And I think that's really cool. I like that. And the quiet, and just nature. It's a beautiful country. You've seen it. We drove a long ways. It's just really pretty. And I think that when it's quiet and all you see is God's creation, it's hard to have a pity party, because I mean, it's really, it's just beautiful. I mean, and I'm enjoying the seasons. I hate the cold, so we're smart. We kind of try to go home during the cold, get a big bite out of winter. But I love the fact of just seeing 4 seasons. I love the weather in California, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, sure.
But it's kind of like it's all the same.
All the same, yeah.
It might get a little hotter, or a little colder, but there's always leaves on the trees and all that. You know what I mean? It's neat to see, like where we live, if you looked out the windows, it looks like a jungle.
Oh yeah.
In the winter, there's a house right there that you can't see right now. It's like, all the leaves fall, and it's like, oh my God, there's a house right there. It's like, geez. I thoroughly enjoy that. I did not come from a part of the world where I've lived most of my life in California, and we're not blessed. That's not something we're blessed with. We're blessed with great weather, though. So.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that was my last question for you, Steve, for today. And guys, I hope that's been interesting for you to hear about Steve and Jennifer, how they've moved here and the things they're doing. Their life goes a lot deeper than what you've just heard in the last few minutes, but I wanted to add, I didn't tell you I was going to do this, but if you wanted to send some money to help any of the things that they do, you heard a little bit about the prison ministry, a little bit about working with foster kids, and they also do some work with orphans. Please let me know and I can help you figure out how to do that. I'll talk with you guys.
Okay.
So thanks for listening, guys. See you next time, next week. Bye.